to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome to the Home Repairs and Solutions Show, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your authorized Mana dealer. Now, the hosts for Home Repairs and Solutions are Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. Now, here's Mary and Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today, Mr. Mark?
Let's just say I'm all right.
You're here.
I'm here.
I'm happy
Yeah.
you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
What? The weather's cooled off just a little bit.
Yeah, it has.
So
Oh, beautiful weather.
I
It's
get
motorcycle weather.
It is motorcycle weather.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. I rode a little bit last night. It was pretty enjoyable.
Yep.
So yeah, sure did. And gonna go for a little ride tomorrow. So
There you go.
We'll see how that works out.
Man, that sounds great.
Have you been on yours lately? Probably not.
I rode one night earlier in the week.
Did ya?
Just a little bit, but that was about it. So, yeah, the last couple nights hadn't been real.
Hasn't been good for
me.
you.
No, I've been a little under the weather. So,
Well, you know, a lot of people are right now. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what's going on. There's a flu thing and all kinds of junk going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't have time for that stuff. So keep that in your
I
corner.
don't either. But for some reason, it always finds me.
You're just too friendly.
I guess so. That must be it.
Well, before we get started today, I think we should give out our phone numbers because I would imagine this is going to be a topic that's going to interest quite a few people, and there might
Oh,
even be
yeah.
some questions today. People will have questions and want
Yep.
to call in.
Yep.
So how are they going to get a hold of us today, Mr. Mark?
They are going to get a hold of us by calling 862-9977 if they live right here in Springfield. Or you can call at 1-800-375-0056 for no matter where you are. It's a free call. Or if you're just shy and you don't want to talk on the radio, you can send us a text at 417-838-3192, and we'll read your question on the air.
And try and give you an intelligent answer.
We will try our best.
Yes. If it's on the subject, we have the expert to do that. If it's something else, well, you get me and Mark.
Yep, that's right.
And we'll just see how it goes.
That's true. That is true. Well, this is I'm really looking forward to this show today because really neat topic that we got going
I think
here.
so too. Something a little out of the ordinary. We haven't done this before.
Yeah.
But today we have Mr. Matt Murrow with us. He's the United States Postal Inspector. So thanks for being with us, and we're glad to have you on the show with us today, Matt.
Glad to be here.
One of the reasons that I asked Matt to be with us on the show is in 2010 I had an issue happen to me that happened with some mail and stuff, and so I learned way more about that than I ever wanted to know. And the more I learned about it, the more I thought, this is someone we need to have on to kind of talk about things that go on with the mail, what a U.S. Postal Inspector does. Some people don't really know what that job entails, and some things to maybe protect yourself and your mail.
Sure.
To keep you from being a victim to all sorts of interesting things.
Yeah.
So I think what we'll do, Matt, is if you don't mind, we'll let you go ahead and kind of tell people what a postal inspector does.
Okay. Postal inspectors are federal agents. We are just like the FBI, Secret Service, DEA, all those guys. We are charged with protecting the U.S. mail, the assets and employees of the U.S. Postal Service, and also the customers of the Postal Service from any criminal use or misuse of the mails or the equipment and all that's entailed with the post office. That's what we do.
That sounds like a lot of stuff
It does.
to me. Well, I know just a few weeks ago, I happened to have the news on, and they had mentioned something about they had some, they called it mail fraud issues, where people were having their mail stolen out of their mailboxes. Is that a fraud issue that you handle, or is that a different type of issue?
It's definitely fraud related. We would consider that mail theft. I mean, just to be, our technical term would be mail theft.
Sure.
And that basically involves the theft of mail from either if someone puts their mail to go out, to pay their bills or whatever, if someone stole their mail out of their mailbox, or if basically someone steals mail that's en route somewhere or something like that, that would be what we consider mail theft. Now, a lot of that mail theft leads to mail fraud, which would be someone washing checks, counterfeiting checks, stealing identities, that sort of stuff. A lot of that begins with mail theft and then develops into something else.
So, I guess what are some of the ways that maybe our listeners can maybe protect themselves from this happening? I'm a mail person. There's a lot of people who like to pay bills online and all that. Well, you know what? They hack into all that stuff and get your identity there too. So, there's arguments for both ways of that. But I still like to, I'm still a hands-on person, and I still handwrite my checks. I paid bills today, and I put them in the mail, and I'm very confident that it's going to get where it needs to go without any struggles or issues in the middle. And for, most of my life, it has worked that way. I've only had one incident that I can talk about a little bit later on. But, I've not really had any issues with putting things through the mail. Now, my son, on the other hand, who does a lot of stuff online, has had multiple issues. So there you go. Some people do and some people don't. But so what are some of the ways maybe people can protect their identity if they are like me and they do like to pay through the mail?
Well, first of all, the post office appreciates your business, so keep sending your bills if you feel to do it that way.
I will.
Basically the mail is safe. I mean, and the like anything. I mean, Springfield is safe, but there are crimes that happen.
Sure.
And with all of the millions and billions of pieces of mail that are transported each year, there are going to be some incidents. There are definitely some things that people can do to make sure that they're being as safe as possible. Simple things like if you go on vacation, put a mail hold on for while you're gone, or have someone pick up your mail so that it's not sitting there in your mailbox. The safest way to mail your checks or outgoing bills or money or gift cards or whatever you're going to mail would be to drop them in a blue collection box as opposed to put them in front of your house with the flag up. There are thieves that will basically drive around neighborhoods and will look for flags up. And
that's a pretty good indication that there's something in there, huh?
Pretty good. And we've had situations where people have also, I mean, on the flip side, people, bad guys have followed the mail carriers around, just far enough behind that the mail carrier can't see them, and just taking the mail right back out of the box after the mail. I mean, it does happen. But the easiest thing is if you're going to mail checks or something with any value other than just a letter, the safest thing is to put it in a blue collection box so that it'll be picked up directly by the postal employees, and it'll be secure until they get it. Or
I would imagine too, like my folks don't get mail at their house; they have a mailbox downtown, and so because they go check the mail every day, so if they have something outgoing, they just take it downtown and inside
Right.
and mail it inside, and so. That way, it's going directly where it needs to be to get sent on to where it's going.
A P.O. box is definitely easily the safest thing to do. However, it does cost a little bit of money, and there are people that don't have transportation or don't have
Sure.
the money to pay for the box or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, if you are okay with a P.O. box, that's by far the safest way because the mail's never really out on the street. I mean, once it arrives in the Postal Service care, then it's stays in the Postal Service care. It's never sitting out there where someone can get their hands on it.
And then if you're mailing bills, or if you're paying bills through the mail, then I would say most people that receive that, they don't have a box out there that people can get into either. It's either coming into their place of business, it's being handed to them like it does with us, or it's going into a P.O. box or some sort of a lockbox security type thing. So if you mail it properly, then it's going to get where it's going without really any incident too much in the middle. I would say I haven't had a mailbox in many, many, many years. First of all, they kept knocking it down, and after we had to put the third one back up, my husband said, "I'm done replacing mailboxes." So we just get everything delivered to our office, and that way everything is safe and secure, and we don't have any issues with that. And the other thing is, we're not open on Saturday, so I don't get Saturday mail. And I know that they've kind of kicked that around a little bit. I could care less if I get mail on Saturday. I haven't for years, and you know what? Monday, it's fine. There's no big issues
Sure.
with that. But, so it's worked really well for me for several years.
And we have, I've had cases here locally where the bad guys targeted businesses, And if a business has a mailbox out on the street and they're not open on Saturday, that mail might sit in there all weekend, and it's just sitting there. Nobody's watching it, and it's able to be stolen.
Well, where we're renting from, where our place of business is located, when we first got there, and we've been there, I believe, 13 or 14 years now, they did have mailboxes on the outside of the building for all the individual units. Those have since all been taken off, and if someone's not there during the mail delivery, then they just hold it until the next day. And so that's really made it pretty safe, I think, where we're located. We don't have the outside mailboxes that that are like at the end of the street that has everybody's mail in it that's locked up, and so everything's either hand delivered personally where I'm at. Now I know that's not the case with everyone, but
I would suggest if you had a business that was going to get a lot of mail and a lot of it was going to be checks or payments or whatever, that there are lots of businesses that have P.O. boxes.
Yeah, there are.
Plenty. But if you are going to have a mailbox at your business, there are plenty of mailboxes that can be locked, that you have to have a key to open. Some of them are better than others and more sturdy than others. And as with any crime, I was a police officer for a long time before I started doing this, and as with any crime, most of the suspects are looking for the easy, fast, grab. And if they have to unlock something or whatever, or use something to pry it open or break it open, they're going to be attracting attention depending on where they are. It's going to take them time. They're going to have to stand there and do it. So typically they're going to avoid those boxes. And they're going to drive on to the next one that they just have to pull open and grab whatever's in there. So there are definitely some things you can do to protect your mail, even at your house. I mean, you can have secure mailboxes like that at your house as long as it's approved, as a U.S. mail receptacle, I guess.
Now, especially if you live out in a rural area, is always the thing. Somebody come along with a ball bat and bash your mailbox. And
that is really annoying.
It is. But can people, if they get caught, can they get in trouble for doing that?
They can. A lot of times, it's juveniles.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, those people end up being prosecuted by the state. Typically, mailbox bashing does not become a federal crime.
Right.
But there have been times where it has, and there have been times where it's been people have received some pretty significant felony charges because they've gone out and smashed a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, one night I get the calls. But typically, if your mailbox gets damaged or smashed, the best thing for you to do is either contact the local police or the sheriff's department. If it's a big enough issue in that jurisdiction, they will contact us, and we'll try to help them out the best we can.
See, that's something that I don't know, and I know that it's mostly kids or whatever, and they're just having a good time, they think, and I don't know if they think that's just personal property, it's not that big a deal or what, but they need to understand that, they can get in a lot of trouble doing that.
Absolutely.
So it's probably not worth the 2-second thrill you get for smashing someone's mailbox. We had a neighbor there in Nixa for a while, and for whatever reason, they never hit ours, but they would hit his. And I think it's because of where we were in the road, but I can't tell you how many times, and as soon as he got the new one up, and it had to be the same people, because about the time he got the new one up, about a day or two later, it'd be caved in. I'm telling you, I don't know. That's just, I don't understand the thrill and all that. But he finally, it finally stopped, and then they were able to keep their mailbox. But ours was taken out by vehicles. So, I mean, ours was sheared off at the post, and, it was like we had to replace the whole thing. It wasn't smashed in. But
there are some things you can do, some people are going to be very worried about the aesthetics and whatever, but there are things that you can do. I know in my neighborhood, the mailboxes are all surrounded in bricks.
Yeah.
So, I didn't do that. That's just the way it was. But out in a rural area, there's I've seen people put metal fence posts on either side of their box or stuff like that. So there are things you can do as long as it doesn't hamper the mail carrier from getting the mail, to the box.
Yeah. All kinds of things you can do like that.
I had a friend of mine that got real tired of his being smashed all the time, so he got the big mailbox and put the smaller one inside of it and poured concrete around in it. And so whoever dropped back with a bat and tried to smash
got their teeth jarred, didn't they?
They got a little jar, yeah, absolutely. So, but it's annoying.
You have to be creative, I guess.
Yeah, and what would worry me more than anything, it's not the cost of replacing the mailbox, but if you had mail in that thing, and then the mail
It's scattered all over the place.
Scattered all over the place, or it rains or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be the bad part about it right there.
Well, and periodically and around 4th of July especially, we get people putting fireworks in mailboxes and
Really?
homemade sparkler bombs and stuff like that, and blowing up mailboxes and stuff. And that typically gets a little more attention than just
I'm sure it does.
smashing
Yeah.
it or hitting it with a bat or something. But yeah, I respond to a few of those.
I'll bet you do. I'll bet you do. As far as putting stuff through the mail, there's so many different kind of restrictions now than there used to be as far as what you can mail from, like, for instance, from our office. If it's a certain size envelope or certain thickness and all that, it all has to go down to the post office to be mailed that way. Have you found, has some of this kind of helped deter some of this other illegal activity stuff? Or
That is obviously the point of that. What you're talking about is what we call anonymous mail, which basically is a safety thing. If someone were to try to ship something dangerous, the anonymous mail rule would make them take it to the post office and have a face-to-face encounter with someone.
I see.
So basically, what that rule is that if you are going to mail something, typically a parcel, it could be an envelope too, but typically a parcel that weighs more than 13 ounces, you have to take it to a counter, or you have to use, like at the main post office in Springfield, there's a machine where you can use your credit card and buy postage, and you can answer the questions, because basically it's a reminder. Does this have anything dangerous in it? And then you have to say no, and you have to swipe your credit card. If you don't do it that way, then you have to go to the counter just so that they can point out, hey, this can't have, anything hazardous, any chemicals, any explosives, any, whatever, aerosol can, whatever it's going to be. And it's a reminder, and then it also makes you, typically your criminal's not going to want a face-to-face encounter.
Sure.
So if I have something dangerous in this that I'm trying to mail to somebody, I don't want to talk to you and let you see me, and that's basically the whole point of that. So yeah, it's a 13-ounce rule. If it's over 13 ounces, you cannot just put stamps on it and drop it in the mail.
And so all of your flat rate boxes then would all have to be taken to the post office typically.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do a lot of that. Most of my stuff is just envelope type things.
Right.
But in a couple instances, I've had to do some flat rate stuff, and I just took it down there. I didn't know if I had to, but that's something that my mail carrier would not be able to pick up and put on their truck.
You can use flat rate like priority envelopes or whatever, but it would have to be below 13 ounces.
Okay.
Postage is postage. I mean, if it's going to cost you, $1 to
Right.
mail it, it doesn't matter if it's $1 worth of stamps or if it's $1 worth over the counter,
Yeah.
as long as it's under that 13-ounce rule.
Okay. Okay.
Do people try to send a lot of drugs through the mail?
That is one of my assignments, and I would say that it happens more probably than most people think. It keeps me busy.
So when you get a package that you suspect that you may have drugs in it, what's the process there? What do you all do?
Well, it depends. We may, like with anything, it just kind of depends on the day. We may just go knock on their door and say, hey, there may be a problem with this package. What's the deal? We may get a search warrant and open it. It just kind of depends. There are some, that are kind of smaller ones that we may send them a letter and say, hey, call me. I want to talk to you about this. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah. So you can't just open them and look to see.
No.
Okay.
The mail, the Postal Service, the U.S. mail is still by far the most secure way to ship something. We cannot just open your mail.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I just
No.
thought if it was something real suspicious, and if you had likely that you could open it and check it out or whatever. To know that something's suspicious, I wouldn't know if it was or not. Do certain things go through X-rays like they do, like when you're going to get on an airplane? Or how do you know? Or maybe you can't say that on the air, but
I can't be super specific.
No.
There are some screening procedures, but honestly, a lot of the mail that is identified as suspicious, whether it's drugs or something dangerous, most of that is identified by postal employees.
okay.
Either inspectors, postal inspectors like me, who are just looking at them, eyeballing them, looking for suspicious things, or postal employees that are just processing it, handling it, and just something catches their eye, and they typically, if that happens, they're going to call me. or an inspector. But most of the time, it's eyeballs that are actually seeing it and catching it.
I see. So I would say there must be some sort of training goes along with that, because just the general public probably wouldn't catch some of those things.
Correct.
So I'm sure there's lots of training involved with the postal inspectors looking for certain items and being able to catch them.
That's exactly right.
That's interesting.
It is, because I mail lots of things. I mean, I just
Well,
trust the mail.
Yeah,
So
and you just don't think of all that stuff that really goes on behind the scenes that we don't see to keep us safe and keep our mail protected. I think that's pretty awesome.
You also don't burglarize houses or rob banks, and so you don't.
that's true.
Well, yeah.
You don't look at.
I don't
things
have that
way,
mindset.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you were going to go build a house, I mean, this is kind of a home improvement type show. If you're
There
going
you
to
go.
work on your house, you're going to look at what's pretty and what's accessible
Sure.
and what's
Sure.
what fits what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If I look at a house you're building, I'm going to be looking at, well, there's a security issue, and someone can see this, and someone can do this, and you want to cover this, and you don't want a window there, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it just depends, and criminals are always, like with the fraud schemes that I'm guessing we're going to talk about in a little bit, criminals are looking for ways, and the mail to them is like a house to break into. You know, they're just going to figure out a way
Right.
to use it to get what they want.
Sure. I hear some music, you know.
I do too. Guess what that means?
I think it means that we need to take a break.
I think so, but don't worry, we'll be back with more home repairs and solutions.
Now, if you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, your siding's going bad and you're plagued with green mildew. Well, your faucets, they all drip and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. 3 more people have been sentenced in a sex slave case in Lebanon. 65-year-old Michael Stokes of Lebanon and 47-year-old James Knoll of Springfield were sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. 48-year-old Marilyn Bagley of Lebanon was put on 5 years probation. 3 others were sentenced earlier this week. The 6 were involved in a sex slave case in which a 16-year-old girl was tortured over a 6-year period. A woman is in custody after a shooting in East Springfield. Police say the 22-year-old woman shot a 25-year-old man in an apartment in the 800 block of South Eastgate. The victim was hospitalized with a gunshot wound to the leg. And police are tracking down a suspect they say dragged a sheriff's deputy and led officers on a high-speed chase earlier this month. That chase ended when 28-year-old David Nash fled into a heavily wooded area in rural Pulaski County. Nash is described as a fugitive and is said to have provided false ID when initially pulled over near I-44 and Highway 28. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
And join us for America's First News, Monday through Saturday at 6:05 a.m. on the Wall Street Journal This Morning on AM 560 KWTO.
For small businesses, reaching customers can be a challenge. Everyone searches differently. And to reach people and generate leads, you've got to be smarter than ever. That's why YP, formerly AT&T Advertising Solutions, offers a full suite of advertising products to help you reach more customers. With mobile, online, print, and direct solutions, we'll custom tailor a plan that's right for you. Call our local media consultants at 1-800-438-7325 and we'll help you get started today. YP.
Not sure which wines go with which foods? Listen to Through the Grapevine, Saturdays 11 to noon on KWTO AM 560. And join the show live from the Hilton Garden Inn. That's where your hosts Jim James and Diana Loftus-Wheeler will interview winemakers and wine industry specialists. Plus, you'll have a chance to sample some of the wines being discussed. That's all on Through the Grapevine, live from the Hilton Garden Inn. Every Saturday from 11 to noon on AM 560 KWTO.
Technology's great when it works. Hi, I'm Kim Commando. On my show, I talk about how to make the digital world work better for you. I can help you with everything. Cell phones to iPods, big screen TVs to internet safety for your kids, and the latest gadgets and gizmos. It's a digital world. I'll help you get the most out of it. It's informative and a heck of a lot of fun. Join me, Kim Commando, on KWTO AM 560, the Talk of the Ozarks.
The Kim Commando Show, Saturdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on KWTO AM 560.
KWTO AM 560 is now streaming the Rush Limbaugh program. Go to radiospringfield.com, click on the KWTO icon, and click Listen Live, 11 to 2 Monday through Friday, and at its special time this Saturday, noon to 3.
For today, it will be sunny with a few passing clouds, high of 77, then a cool night tonight with partly cloudy skies, low 52. Beautiful day tomorrow, partly sunny, high 77, and a low 54. Then it will be mostly sunny Sunday, high 83. For Monday, clouds and sun with a couple of showers and thunderstorms possible, high of 84. I'm AccuWeather's Kevin Snyder.
Currently 71 degrees.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
And welcome back to Home Repairs and Solutions. If you want to be part of the show, call 862-9977. That's 862-9977. Or if you're out of the area, feel free to call 800-375-0056. Now here's Mary and Mark.
Or if you want to send us a text, you can do that. 417-838-3192. And we will answer your question on the air.
Yes, we will. That way, everyone will know the question because you're probably not the only one that has that question.
That's right.
So usually, if you have that question, other people have the same question, and we can get everyone an answer. So, and if you've just joined us, we're talking to Matt Murrow with us. He is the U.S. Postal Inspector here in Springfield, and we've been talking about ways to protect your mail and different things you can do. One of the reasons this show came about, is in 2010. We actually had an incident, our company, Spring Mountain Air, did, where a check had been stolen and had been reproduced in whatever fashion they did that with and had been cashed to an individual that we didn't know. And fortunately for us, our bank was very much on the ball and called me shortly after that happened. For some reason, once it went through, then someone else looked at the bank and questioned the signature and different things. And so I had to go to the bank. They had the check and everything there and all that. And so anyway, it got to be quite an ordeal. This can be quite costly. Some people think, well, really, how much trouble can it be? Well, it can be quite a bit of trouble, let me tell you. I had to file police reports. Had to go to the bank, especially from a business perspective. We have clients that we do ACH transfers, and there's a lot of things involved with business banking. And the bank that we work with was great. We canceled that account. I had to go back and list all of the checks that were good so that they would let them clear, because that happened right after the 10th of the month. Of course, I had sent out all of my payments to all my vendors and everything, so I wanted to make sure that they didn't get bounced checks and all that. So it was quite a process. It took several hours of my time. We had to shred all the checks and that I had just got a new batch of checks in. So I had to shred all those, all the deposit slips, had to get a new account, and then, you have to go through and reschedule and resubmit all the information for all the ACH. I mean, it was a fairly lengthy ordeal and process to get it done. Fortunately, the bank was great to help me out with all of that. And I actually was able to retrieve our money like within 10 days. The bank actually put the money back into my account and then took over the case on my behalf. So I got out of it, actually fairly quickly. Cost-wise, hard dollars, it was probably about $400 or $500 hard dollars. Soft dollars, it was probably about $1,500. So it can be costly.
Oh yeah.
And it's worse if it's a personal account.
Yes.
I mean, if it's your personal account, your your identity and your credit and all of that, then it's even more of a hassle to the victim.
Sure. So that's why, since I went through this process and actually, on a happy note, those people were actually caught and they were sentenced just sometime within this last year. I'm not exactly sure when, but they got 18 years. So yippee skippy for them.
That's right.
They can sit behind bars now and think about it.
That was federal time, too.
Yes, that was federal. Yep. So just be aware that, it can happen to you. Just protect yourself the best you can. Like I said, I still believe in the mail. I still do direct mail to all of our clients. I'm getting ready to do another mailer, and I send out, about 1,000 letters, direct mail twice a year, and that is the only issue in all these years I've ever had with mail fraud. So I'm not worried about sending things through the mail, but the reason why I want to put this show on here is so people would be aware of what can happen and then what it can cost you. So, if at all possible, take your mail to a safe, secure place to mail it. Like Matt said, if you're going to go on vacation, stop the mail.
Stop the mail.
Don't let it pile up. Don't let your neighbor pick it up. He might not pick it up for 3 days. You don't know.
You never know. Yeah, that's right.
So,
well, I like what he said, too. Something that we just don't think about is go to the blue box, drop it in there, go to the post office, drop it in. That way you don't have to worry about it.
You don't even have to go in at the post office. I know the one on Chestnut down here, oftentimes if there's something...
Drive right up to the blue box and drop it in. The one on Glenstone, you can do the same.
Absolutely. They have drive-up boxes. You don't have to go inside. Yeah. So it makes it real easy and convenient, actually. Yeah. And, just protect yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Good thoughts.
Yep. Yep. There you go.
There's some other things I kind of want to talk. We talked about a little bit before the show, but there's all kinds of things that are going on that maybe people... that you handle that maybe people don't realize. And one of the things that we talked about I thought was interesting, and I would have no idea that you would handle this, is home-based business type fraudulent activity.
That home-based businesses, or work-at-home, we call them work-at-home scams.
Work-at-home, yeah.
Is probably, if not the biggest, probably one of the biggest fraud schemes going. And there's multiple variations of the scheme or schemes. But basically, if someone asks you to mail something or wire money or receive money or send out money, and you don't know this person, and it's someone that you met online or you got the job without even applying for it. I mean, a lot of these, they just show up in the mail, and people think, well, that's a good idea. I can make some money. If it says no risk, if it says in your spare time, all of this stuff, or all you need to do is, the red flag should be going off. Most of us got our jobs by meeting someone.
Certainly.
And even if, in nowadays, I mean, a lot more modern than when I started working, you can apply for jobs online, but typically somewhere there's an interview process.
Absolutely.
They don't just send you a letter and say, you're hired, start sending money for me, or I met you on the internet and I own a business and I want you to be my shipper,
right.
That's not going to happen. Another thing, in fact, yesterday I had to talk to an elderly woman. She got a call from someone that said they were an FBI agent, and they needed her to receive checks and deposit them in her bank account, and they would call later with instructions. No federal agent.
Oh, absolutely not.
No law enforcement agency. No government employee, legitimately, is going to ask you to receive money, deposit it in your account, send it on to anybody else, wire money anywhere. It's not going to happen. And we talk about the elderly a lot with these scams because they target the elderly. I mean, the lady I was talking to was in her 80s, and she's like, I was just trying to do the right thing. He said he was with the FBI. He said he was going to arrest me if I didn't cooperate. No investigator, no federal agent, no government agency is going to do that, ever. And luckily, I was able to get a hold of her before she fell victim to anything else. But it does happen. I would say probably the most common one, and I see it a lot. When I say locally, I would say Southern Missouri, is a secret shopper scam. I see hundreds and hundreds of them, and some of the victims will apply online for a work-at-home job. Others will just receive an envelope in the mail that says you've been selected as a secret shopper. And typically what that involves is a counterfeit check or counterfeit money orders and instructions to go evaluate a store. Take, like, say the check or money order is $1,000. So it says, here's your first assignment. Take this $1,000, go cash it at your bank. If it's a postal money order, they always say don't cash at the post office. Well, the reason they don't want you to cash at the post office is because we can spot the counterfeits.
Sure.
So they always say take it to your bank, cash the money order or check, and then go to a store and spend so much money, $50, $100, whatever, and then evaluate the service. That part is kind of the little itty bitty part that you're thinking that's how you're going to get your payment. They think they're going to tell you can keep the whatever you bought. So you're thinking, well, sweet, I get a shirt or sweater, shoes, whatever. And then the follow-up is take the remaining amount of money, which now is going to be $700, $800, and wire it through a wire company so you can evaluate the wire company. Well, that's where they get their money, because now you've just wired $800 to someone you don't know somewhere else, and you think you're evaluating this Western Union or the whoever did the money wire. They don't care about that company. They just want their cash. And then 3 days, 5 days, a week later, your bank calls you and says, hey, this $1,000 money order you cashed or this $1,000 check you cashed is no good, so you owe us $1,000. And I've got victims in cases that are out $5,000, $2,500, and we're talking single moms, we're talking disabled people, we're talking retired people that were just looking for I don't want to say easy way, but a convenient way to make a little extra money. And now they're in collections or whatever for however much money they cashed. No stranger will send you money, and no job opportunity will send you more money than you need and have you wire money somewhere else. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Wire money to somebody I don't know. A red flag on a lot of these is the money orders or the checks that the person receives. If you look at the return address on the envelope, whether it's a FedEx, UPS, or postal envelope, look at the return address. They never match the name on the check. It's always different. I mean, that should be a gimme in a heartbeat, whatever. Joe Smith sends me this check. Yeah, I'm going to work for Joe Smith, but the name on the check is, John Doe. Well, it doesn't match up. There's a problem there. But that's basically the general scam, and there's different variations of it, but it's always wire money somewhere. And your bank's not going to know for several days, so you're not going to know. And if you want to be a good employee and get it done real quick, then you've already lost your money before they even know it's no good.
That's incredible.
It's amazing to me how people think this stuff up.
Oh, I know it.
I just
that's
don't.
What gets me.
I don't know how they figure out how to make all this work like that.
Yeah, exactly. But my dad got into a similar situation, so you really have to be careful. Like selling stuff on Craigslist.
I was just getting ready to say Craigslist. Yep.
Because this happened to my dad. He had a fuel tank or something for a truck on there, and
they sent him extra money.
Yep. And then said, go, take the amount out for this, and then go wire this money to such and such and everything. And luckily, he caught it and realized what they was doing. And but yeah, it was.
I've got one of the cases I'm working now. The person, the suspect, started doing the work at home scam. Sending out the counterfeit money orders and the secret shopper thing, and now they're doing. Recently, I found out they're doing a Craigslist scam where they'll hit you up for your $200 chair, and they'll send you a $1,000 check or money orders and say, "Oh, my bad, I sent the wrong amount. Just wire the rest back."
Yeah.
Well, they don't want your chair. They don't care about your chair. All they want's the money you're wiring back to them. Another one that's common, and the woman I was talking to yesterday, the elderly woman, I believe that scam, luckily we got her headed off early on, but that scam is fake lotteries or sweepstakes. And that's one that gets a lot of people, a lot of elderly people. And basically the easy rule to remember there is if you win the lottery or if you win a sweepstakes, that I'm aware of, there is no legitimate reason that someone would have you wire them money. You won $2 million in the lottery, but I need you to wire me $1,000 to pay fees or whatever. Well, if they have $2 million to give you, they can deduct that out of the $2 million they're going to give you. I mean, if you win the lottery here in the state, the check you get is not the $2 million. It's
Right.
the $2 million minus all
Sure,
the fees and all the
And
taxes,
the taxes
and
and all
whatever.
that, sure.
So that's a very common one. They'll contact someone. They'll say, you've won the so and so sweepstakes, or you've won the international lottery. You've won $2 million, but you need to pay the taxes before we can send it. So you need to wire us, $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever. The lady yesterday, there were 3 checks for $5,000 apiece that she was sending to pay, $15,000 right there.
Wow.
That she was sending to pay fees and taxes.
Golly.
She's never going to see that money again, and she didn't win the lottery.
Well, first of all, I get that stuff in email once in a while, and it says you won this. Okay, how did I win if I never entered?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
I never
exactly.
entered. There's no way I won because I've never entered any of this stuff. So there's no way I'm a winner.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't. So I don't know. Sometimes I think you kind of get excited about maybe you did win something, or you hear this or that or the other. If you didn't enter, you didn't win.
Yeah.
You just didn't.
Believe it or not, I've had numerous people tell me when I've told they think they've won, and we find out about it, and we go tell them, hey, this is a scam. You're going to lose your money, whatever. I've actually had people, and I know other investigators have too, that have said, well, I know you're probably right, but I got to try.
Oh my goodness.
I'm serious.
Oh
and
my goodness.
They'll send more. We'll find out.
Oh
A
dear.
lot of times, especially with an elderly person or someone with a disability, they'll have a family member, brother, sister, child, adult child, or someone that'll call and say, hey, my mom or my dad has fallen victim to this. They've already sent $10,000 to wherever overseas. Can you talk to them? And I'll talk to them. Hey, this is a scam. You're not going to get your money back. You didn't win the lottery. And over and over again, they'll say, well, I got to try, if I don't send them this money, then I won't know for sure, that sort of deal.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
And we've had them where we've said, okay, we're not going to mail this. We know this is a fraud.
Yeah, we're not sending.
We're not going to send your $10,000 to Canada
Yeah.
or wherever it's going. And they'll just go down the store or down the street to, a UPS store or something
Oh,
and mail it
dear.
that way, since we won't take it. So they get, once they get in their heads, and these suspects on these scams, well, not the ones that they just drop in the mail. They're just checking for whoever's going to bite. They're
Sure.
just mass mailing, and whoever's going to bite, that's the money they get. But there are other ones where they'll find you, or they'll search dating websites, stuff like that, and they'll find a hook, where they find out you're maybe real religious. So they'll be real religious, and they'll have a mission in Africa that needs money, or they'll own a business in Europe somewhere, and they need you to send their money, and stuff like. There's always a hook. I've had women that I've been in their house to show. We knew they were shipping stuff that wasn't right. Went and talked to them, and I'm like, who are you sending this stuff to? Well, my fiance. Well, have you ever met your fiance?
Oh, dear.
No, he's a business owner in Europe.
Oh, no.
But he's in Africa, and I need to send him money because he's going to come meet me. Well, this lady may have sent $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to this guy, thinking she's in love and she's going to get married, and I'm the bearer of bad news. I'm like, ma'am, I'm sorry, and I've had him break down and cry, and
Oh dear.
I'm
Wow.
like, I'm sorry, but this person is not who you think it is.
It kind of goes back to if it's too good to be true.
Yep.
It probably is.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you get any of these solicitations, or if you have anything like this happen to you, just step back from it and think through it. If you
Right.
have a question, if you're not sure, then I would imagine they could contact you.
Call us or call the police. The inspection service has a toll-free number. But I would say call your local police. When I go out and talk to these people, I'm from Springfield, and the gal the other day was not in Springfield,
Right.
So I'm a stranger showing up and saying, hey, I'm a federal agent.
Yeah.
Here's this. So whenever I do that, I take the local police with me because that's, they know them and they're local. And so,
Well, and that gives credibility that you are who you say you
Absolutely.
are. They're already
Absolutely.
getting dinged by somebody they don't
Right.
know, and so
this lady yesterday was telling me, well, the FBI called. And I'm like, ma'am, if I was a criminal, do you think I'd bring the police with me?
yeah, really.
The inspection service does have a toll-free number. If you have questions, you think you've been a victim of a crime, you can call 877-876-2455, and that's our toll-free number to report or question. But you could also, if you think it's a scam, it probably is, call your police department. They can look at it, and they'll give you an opinion, too. Can I add something real quick? I had
Absolutely.
a carrier call in while we were here, and there is one clarification to the 13-ounce rule I was talking about. If you use Click and Ship online or
Okay.
something like that, you can mail things that way because, again, we know who you are. You've used your
Yeah.
credit card.
Yeah.
So that's an exception. And then your carrier, like a rural carrier, can pick that up,
Sure.
at your mailbox or whatever. So just
Okay.
a clarification there.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. Oh, this has been a great program. I've
Lots of
really
information.
enjoyed this. Yeah.
And we just, we just wanted to bring Matt on to kind of make you think about different things again. Sometimes, you get busy and different things happen, and maybe you, overlook stopping your mail, or maybe you overlook, you get something to think, oh, wow, maybe this is for real. Before you act on it, check it out.
Oh, absolutely.
Make sure that it's for real. If it's for real, it's gonna be okay 3 days from now, just like it is today. There's no hurry up. You got to do it today.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you don't end up being a fraud victim of any of these scams or any of this type of thing that's going on.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. It seems like with the internet, it seems like they're more prevalent than they used to be. I mean, I probably 99% of my emails I delete. I don't even open them.
Yeah.
If it's not someone I know, or if it's not business related, I don't even look at it.
Sure.
I'm just not gonna. I just don't want to waste my time with it, and I just get rid of it. So, just that's one of the things that I do.
Yep.
Just don't even look at it.
Absolutely.
A lot of times these people will say, "Don't tell anybody. You've won the lottery.
Don't tell
but
anybody.
Don't tell your family. Don't tell your wife.
Yeah.
Don't tell your kids. It's a secret. And if you won't get your winnings if you tell anybody."
Yeah.
Well, again,
And
red
people
flag.
believe that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what's incredible to me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, nothing in life is free.
No, that's
true.
right.
So
If it's too good to be true,
It's-
the saying still
absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
So, well, we hope you've enjoyed the show today, Matt. Thank you so much for being on the show. I enjoyed having you and getting some of this information out to our listeners. Hopefully, this will save someone from being a fraud victim. Today or tomorrow or next week. You never know. They seem to be coming at you in all directions all the time. So
absolutely.
yeah, just if it doesn't seem like it's real, it's probably not. Question it and
Nobody
hang on to
sends
your money.
Nobody sends you free money.
No,
Yeah.
no, they don't.
Nobody sends
Yeah.
you free money.
And I've never had the government send me free money. I've had them ask me for more money, but I've never had them send me money. So, yeah, if that ever happens, I'll be calling you going, Matt, what's
Yep.
going on with this deal
Yep.
here?
There
So,
you go. So, what you doing this weekend?
I'm going to ride my bike for a while
There you
tomorrow
go.
and then maybe go on the boat in the afternoon. So, I'm
sounds
just going to
fun.
play tomorrow.
There you go.
Play day.
All right.
What do you got going on, buddy?
We got our big jam tonight out at River Bluff Fellowship for our GOBS, the Greater Ozarks Bluegrass Society, and so I'd like to invite everybody to come out there and hang out with us. And
When does that start?
about 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock
7
tonight.
o'clock.
Yep.
I came out there one time, and that
Yes,
was
you
a
did.
great show. You had some people from Joplin, I believe.
Jefferson City.
Or Jefferson City.
Yeah.
And they were amazing. It was a great
Yeah.
show, and it's free.
Yeah. Every Sunday night, our TV show now is on.
Yes.
On Channel 27, so
Yep.
6:30.
6:30, so tune in for that as well.
Yep, that's right. Well, this is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.
Your faucets, they all drip, and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.